meeting of school district number 40 at 6 p.m. on Monday, December 11th at the Coolidge Professional Development Room. Can I have a roll call, please?
Audrey Adamson.
Here.
Chet DeSmit.
Here.
Ramona Dixon.
Here.
Jason Farrell.
Here.
Lindsay Hines. Andrew Ware.
Here.
Aaron Waldron Smith. Abigail Greenlee.
Here.
Jethan Kalarpu.
All right, next is approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of November 13th, 2023.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We're gonna move the public comment and participation to the regular meeting. So our next is the school spotlight, Logan Elementary.
Mr. Ferguson, there's a clicker up there if you want it or not, that's okay.
All right, well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for inviting Logan, but also all the elementaries and all the buildings to come and do a little spotlight highlight of things that are going on. I do love to talk, as many people in the audience know, but I was just informed there's The Voice is on later, so I need to keep things moving along, which I will. And I want to thank some of the representatives from Logan that are here tonight as we're celebrating our Parent Mentor Program, which is phenomenal. We have our former parent coordinator, Katie Knob, our current parent coordinator, Emily Hotchkiss, get that one right. Two teachers, Liz O'Hearn and Haley Jaycox, and one of our parent mentors, Miss Amita, and her family are all here. So we really appreciate that. All right, and then someone's got a teacher button.
Maybe turn it on, top button.
That's good. We're not celebrating technology, but I'm just gonna point at Craig. Can you change it? No. You can't? It's not here.
I can, Tom.
Good
Gotta
start.
do old school.
Sorry. I know The Voice. I know. I'm getting there.
Froze. This one happens
Hey, there we go.
when you set up too soon, I guess.
All right, so our big mission at Logan is to obviously to focus on the wins. It's been really our kind of mission to do that, finding the wins for our students, for our teachers, and for our families. Ever since I've been there, and you have a great building, outstanding tradition and history. Been there 7 years myself, but these are the things we're focused on: find those wins for these different groups. And one way in which we've been able to do that and maximize all these groups is through our Parent Mentor Program. So a little bit of background on the program. First introduced at Logan 2019. We began our association with the Logan Square Neighborhood Association, that's out of Chicago, and the Parent Mentor Program. Purpose of increasing parent engagement and to increase the support of our students. Special thanks go at the beginning of this to Stephanie Jordan, Jane O'Brien, and then Katie Knob, three instrumental people who again got the program up and rolling for us, introduced it to us, and have helped us to maintain it through the years. Really a fantastic group of people. So which button?
It's working.
The big one?
Yep.
Cool. So this all happens and as more recently has gotten on board in collaboration with Western Illinois University. My thanks there go to Dr. Lindsay Meeker and Mariah Rosas, who helped to coordinate the Parent Mentor Program through Western Illinois at the Quad Cities level. So the Chicago larger organization works obviously regionally, and Western Illinois has really picked up a lot over the last couple of years, helping to roll out, support the program as we go. And so the participating parents that do get involved, one of the really neat aspects of this program is the training they receive in addition to the experience in the classroom and in the schools. They have weekly meetings in person, online, experiencing things like CPR training, nursing, health education, working on educational strategies to use in the classroom, and much more. I did hear they got to take a Zumba class one time, so I thought that was very cool. They're getting all kind of exposure and experiences just by being a part of this program. Additional wins that go along with Western. Dr. Lindsay Meeker shared with me some of their statistics from the overall program. You can just see there some of the success that parents are getting as they get exposed to the trainings. They get motivated, they get inspired to go on parent mentors going back and they're participating in GED prep, they're presenting at conferences, they're participating, they're volunteering, really getting themselves more involved, which for the whole parent mentor program is a huge mission for them to get people empowered, motivated, and doing more for their communities. Another thing with that, I just think this program has really become a sort of a grow your own program for us locally at Logan. We've had about 9 mentors through the years, many of which have moved on and now are fully employed within the district as paras, as interventionists, working in our buildings, doing great things. They kind of take steps from parent mentor onto being a para, or parent mentor onto parent coordinator, and climbing through as they receive that training, working with teachers, working with kids, really helping develop that passion for being in schools, understanding all the great things, understanding all the magic that happens in the school building. It's one of those things as a parent, you get parent-teacher conferences, you get all the different things, but to fully understand the capacities of the teachers and the educators and what really happens at that ground level working with kids, I think they find motivation, inspiration in that, and it's really been a great program for us. So to talk locally about its impact at Logan, which is what we're here to do, these parent mentors are creating opportunities in the classroom for small group instruction, additional student level support that you're gonna hear some of the teachers talk about a little bit as well. These parent mentors are helping meet the very diverse needs of our kids, from helping them become just familiar with the building. They've moved in and they're in an upper grade level, becoming familiar with the building. They're helping them to, get the education at their level, because we know the more adults in the school building, the better. That's one thing that we found, call it since COVID or whatever else, our students now need more adult support. And that's where the Parent Mentor Program has really made its impact, is that we are able to bring these parents in. We can get them a stipend, $1,000 per semester. So this is $2,000 in a year. It might even be more. It's $3,000, isn't it? Yeah, that's a new one this year. See, I got the right people in the room supporting me here. So up to $3,000 in a year for volunteering time, working with kids, and again, building that capacity to teach kids in other classrooms, but also to go home and teach kids of their own. One of the stipulations of the program is you can't be in the same classroom or grade level as your student. And I think that really helps parents get that full perspective on what's going on in there. In addition to working in the classroom, you also see that our parent mentors have taken on grant writing efforts, school-wide event organization, and supporting new language learners, and much more. I want to highlight Miss Amita in the back, who's been one of our longtime veteran parent mentors, came to us at Logan with her 2 son boys, Shiv and Samya, 4th graders, outstanding boys. I'm always celebrating their success. But Miss Amita, being an English language learner herself, was taken under the wing of some great veteran teachers, learned that ability to work in small groups, to work with kids, and now she's passing that on. You look at the picture there on the far right, Miss Amita working with some of our newcomer students who are also learning that English language the same way she did, and she has that awesome capacity. So if we're please, let's please clap it up for Miss Amita. So our school-wide events. Every year, our parent mentor group is tasked with putting on an event, doing a good thing for the building. They were our group that, our first event after COVID, we realized that we need to reconnect with our community, and working with our parent coordinator and the mentors, we talk about what we need. What do we need to do this year that's going to be good for our community, for our building, our kids, our families? We realized we needed an opportunity to come back together. PTO opportunities for Carnival had kind of passed. We're finally into springtime. So they put on and took the initiative to get our first outdoor carnival back after COVID, to bring that community back to the Logan building. The next year we did a read into summer reading challenge. So engaging kids in working with the Moline Public Library to keep reading throughout the summer, to get a log. We had t-shirts for them. We had a kickoff celebration there. You can see on the bottom right, we were reading a book, selling the event, selling the t-shirts, and promoting reading throughout the summer. Our parent mentors made that happen. We also had a self-esteem and kindness week. The picture on the left there, students putting up post-its in the hall. We had 2 big posters with comments from all of our 300 plus kids up there about something great about themselves and something great about others. The parent mentors realized this is what we see in the classroom, this is what we think kids need, and then they go ahead and make it happen. In the grant writing efforts, again, I've been very fortunate to work with some great people. Katie Knobb sitting here, Jane O'Brien, also our original parent coordinator, and Leslie Hill, one of our fantastic mentors that get ambitious. And I work with them to find out what do we need. We know there's organizations out in the community that want to support schools, that want to help us improve our facilities, make that difference, go that little extra mile we need to make it a better environment and experience for kids. Outdoor classroom there, pictured on the bottom left, was about a $15,000 effort, working with the JC's program of the Quad Cities to put that in. It's awesome. It's, again, another post-COVID deal for us, but still to this day is a great opportunity for kids to get outside, learn in that fresh air. You see our different efforts we've made, balance ball and special education. Logan Leopards Love to Move was a recess equipment grant effort we made. Outdoor landscaping, and our Logan Leopards Lounge is pictured there on the right. You might not think that the little landing between the first and second floors at Logan is the most glamorous of areas, and it wasn't. It needs some help. So we went to our parent mentors and realized now we have a great place. When the Moline Police Department therapy dog comes through, you can frequently find Pepper up there on Wednesdays, sitting there reading with kids, small group instruction happening right there, because our parent mentors access the money to make it a better learning space for kids. I do want to call on some of our folks that are here tonight. Ms. Liz O'Hearn is here, and she offered this text earlier. We're excited she got to make it, but we already put it in there. You can see from her quote there, she just understands how important the mentors are. They help set goals, they help students reach their goals, and they are role models, providing guidance to our students. As I say that schools need adults, and we need as many adults in classrooms as we can get, that's another big piece of it. It's not always just being able to break up into small group instruction and have someone to help a kid that's working on a program or working through a worksheet or a problem, but it's also to provide those role models. And I think when you see the parents that come in, again, not to their own kids' classrooms, but to someone else's, to come in and be a role model, be a positive influence, give that hug, give that handshake, give that high five, that's making another positive impact through the Parent Mentor Program. Miss Haley Jaycox, second grade teacher, third grade teacher. She does it all. She does lots of things. Was going to share a couple words about the Parent Mentor Program as well. Yeah.
So my first year teaching, I was in second grade, and I had a couple students who I wanted to kind of have some of their more social and emotional needs met. And I actually worked with Katie Knobb my first year, and she was able to do just some reading time with those students and really meet with them in that one-on-one. Where when you're teaching an entire class of students, you might not be able to have that really together time with those students that I was able to use with Katie. And this year, I've got a couple of ML students, and I am very blessed to have Miss Anita in my classroom. And when those students are not working with our ML instruction and they are not on a program, which is great, she's able to work with them and meet their needs one-on-one and really focus with them on what they need to grow and do best. So it's been really awesome to see how having parent mentors in my classroom has affected my students' learning and their social emotional needs.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Jaycox. And then also some words from, again, one of our OGs, an original, Ms. Katie Knobb, who's gone through, she's been a parent mentor, she's our parent coordinator, done a great job. You see her picture in lots of these places here. A little testimonial from Mrs. Knobb.
I had to type it because I have a fear of public speaking. Oh. Good evening, my name is Katie Knobb. I am the former parent mentor coordinator at Logan Elementary School and a former student at Logan. I recently took on a different role at the school though. As you can imagine, the year of 2020 was very hard for many families, ours included. I quickly realized I didn't know how to help my kids with the different subjects that I was now responsible for. There were many tears for my kids and for myself. Fast forward to summer of 2020, and Jane O'Brien called me and asked me to join the Parent Mentor Program. I quickly accepted. A week into our training, and I accepted the coordinator position due to Jane retiring. Realizing all the different learning strategies and techniques was truly eye-opening. Being in the school has taught me to be more patient, be a little more kind and understanding. It helped me at home with my own children, and that was one of my main goals. Having parents in the school and taking students on one-on-ones and in small groups, I believe is very beneficial for them. It gives the students more attention in their specific struggles and needs with learning. I'm excited to see the parent mentor grow and what they can do in the schools for many years to come. Thank you.
One more time for Katie Knox. She's done kind of on the fence about joining and then quickly thrust into, hey, do you want to coordinate this whole effort at Logan? No, thanks, good job. She took it on. absolute champs. So it's the parent mentors that make the wins. I started out this evening talking to you guys about we focus on our wins for the student, for the teachers, and for the families. And this is a group that allows that to happen and keeps that momentum going to keep supporting our classrooms, supporting the kids, supporting our building and community, the connections, the engagement opportunities, the positive impact in the classroom. These all produce wins for all those groups, students, teachers, families. They learn to teach. They learn to meet the needs of the students, their own kids, other people's kids, higher grade levels, lower grade levels, and everything in between. And also with additional training and access to different organizations, how also to best serve our community. So I want to say thank you to the Moline School Board, allowing me to come and present. Thank you to our parent mentors, our teachers, even our students that are here tonight. We appreciate that. And wins at Logan.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate all you do for our schools. I mean, we couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you. Anything from the board?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next up is the Illinois School Report Card. Dr. Savage.
Yes, and I think Dr. Purple, you're gonna come up at some point too. So this is our annual review of our Illinois School Report Card from last school year. So just that thread to keep in mind, this is referring to the 22-23 school year. So this is the data in the rears, not necessarily where we are today, but really the snapshot from last year. There's a lot of information, so I really tried to focus on the highlights and provide as much information as I can. Certainly, if there are other pieces that you are interested in me bringing forth at another time, please definitely, excuse me, let me know. Everything we do starts with our mission, and our most important job is to make sure that we're providing experiences for our kids so that they can become productive citizens in our community. And so that's just really framing the work that we do. Across the state of Illinois, there were a lot of wins, a lot of things to be proud of. Major increases in English language arts, some increases in math, not as much as ELA. That is really moving at a faster rate. The highest graduation rate across the state of Illinois in 13 years. African-American students saw huge gains across the state and across many key indicators. More growth in ELA and math. Our teacher retention for the state of Illinois is the highest on record. That is excellent news during a climate of national teacher shortage. Our ninth graders on track now exceeds pre-pandemic levels. We're happy to see that. Chronic absenteeism improved slightly, but this is still a major issue. And it's not only reflective in our state, but also right here in our local school district. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And students in CTE, career and technical ed courses, is continuing to grow. So statewide cheers across the board. These things feel good to see momentum and growth really as that pandemic becomes further in our rear view mirror. And speaking of that, we really need to talk about what does academic recovery often mean and what does it actually mean? Some districts are looking at it in one way and other districts are looking at it a different way. So are we comparing our academic recovery to the 2018 data before the pandemic? Or are we referring to academic recovery as being, we are better than the year before? And I really think that districts are looking at this a variety of different ways, but quite honestly speaking, I think they're both important. I really sort of have focused on the windshield and the rear view mirror analogy. So the windshield is really certainly speaking about moving forward from last year, and each year as we move forward, gaining more and more traction. But it is also important to have that smaller rear view mirror. So we each take a time to keep focus on what actually was our baseline in 2018. So I really try to pull in data from the last year or two and also from 2018 to keep that windshield and rear view mirror focus. So just a snapshot of our student enrollment, a couple of things to highlight. I won't read every single little thing. Our enrollment is increasing. Keep in mind, this number of 7,144 students was, again, from last year, 22-23. And it's up a number of students, over 20 students from the 21-22 22 year. So we're quite a bit in the rears there looking at this data. I believe we're closer to 7,300 now this school year. Our diversity enrollments are there. Couple of areas of note that I placed the arrows on the side. Our free and reduced lunch population increased almost 10% in one school year. That is significant. That is of note. Our free and reduced population is close to 60% now, making that big jump last year. And again, that is from 2 years ago to last year. Couple of other stats to note. Again, the chronic absenteeism, this is a concern. The definition is students that miss 10% or more of school days. So if there were 178 school days, that's 17 days. And so the percent was high across the state, but it continues to be high in our district, at least all of last year. Again, we're seeing improvements, but this is still a concern post-pandemic. This is one of those metrics that hasn't moved in terms of improving significantly enough. And truancy as well was significantly high last year. And this is really just synonymous with what's happening across the state. As far as snapshots, just a couple of stats here and a couple of things to highlight in blue. We have about 450 certified teachers last year. Our teacher retention rate is fantastic, near 95%. We are well above the state average at 90%. This is a point of pride for the Moline-Coe Valley School District. Our teachers come, and for the most part, they want to stay. This provides stability to our families, and this provides stability to our kids. I think that is fantastic. You can see there are student to teacher ratios, our administrator to student ratio, as you will note, is also higher than the state average, which is 141 students to one administrator. And so we're operating at a higher level, nearly 200 students to one administrator, which means we're doing more with less. We're covering the ground with fewer people, even though it feels like we never have enough hands on deck. And I'm sure our principals and other folks can attest to that. But I'm proud that we're able to be fiscally responsible and manage that in an important way to keep those numbers down. Really, as far as our headline and our achievement is a tale of two stories. We have the Illinois Assessment for Readiness. This is the state assessment that is required by the federal government. And most of the data is related to the IAR, that state assessment, that big high stakes test that we give once a year. But we also focus on MAP, Measures of Academic Progress. This is our internal benchmark that we use to track student growth and proficiency. So really the headlines there, what's making progress? Our graduation rate is improving. Our English language arts proficiency is improving. Our growth in our MAP assessment is improving in ELA and math. Our teacher retention is improving. Our climate and culture assessment that our parents and staff and kids take, called 5E, 5 Essentials, is also tracking in a positive trajectory. Our 8th grade students passing algebra is ticking up, and our graduates enrolled in post-secondary. Those are all sort of positive momentum from last year and previous. As far as what is still flat would be math proficiency for IAR, that Illinois Assessment for Readiness. It's slower to move, but we're moving, but it's still slower to move. The English language arts is moving at a faster rate. As far as challenges, a big old thumbs down continues to be chronic absenteeism. We are above the state average, and this is not something that we should just sort of let happen. Our chronic absenteeism for last year was 35, close to 35%, well above, hey Justin, well above the state average, which was 28%. So we are seeing improvements this year, but attendance continues to be a concern. Tardies at our secondary level throughout the school day, from class to class. If you hear from teachers at the secondary level and administrators, this is a concern. So we've just sort of lost that drive for punctuality for a number of students, and this is an issue, and this is our area of growth moving forward. And you can see the truancy rates there as well. This is just a cut and paste job from the Illinois State Report Card. Our rating from the state is just a 0 to 100 point scale, and is based on these factors for elementary and middle school. So English language arts growth and math growth, proficiency, science proficiency, and English learner progress to proficiency. That is the bulk of our numeric indicators at the elementary and middle school level. That's 75%. And then chronic absenteeism, and then the 5 essentials survey is the other quarter. And those items down in the bottom that are shaded, those are metrics that are sort of in a holding pattern for 2025. The high school report card is very similar for a number of those pieces, but add 9th graders on track for graduation and the graduation rate. So those are just sort of cut and paste right from the Illinois school report card. How are our scores determined based on those factors? This is also just a chart that shows the definition of ratings from exemplary to commendable, targeted, and comprehensive, and then intensive. And intensive is the lowest and exemplary is the highest. 5 possible summative designations. I won't read these to you. They are available on the State Board of Education website, but we'll dig into our particular designations here quickly. And here they are. So for the most part, we are doing fantastic, and we have some areas of improvement in a few other areas. Moline High School commendable, Bicentennial commendable. I noted missed exemplary by under 2 points, under 2 indicator points, 1.69 indicator points. Butterworth, Washington, and Logan commendable. Special shout out for Logan. Special shout out Mr. Ferguson and his team for making some gains and making some improvements in the areas that were needed for Logan. So congratulations on that work. It's paying off. School improvement is a 4-year cycle. So if you have a student population, if you have a student group that is underperforming, you are in that improvement cycle for 4 years. Even if you bounce back the next year and grow and grow and grow, you remain in that improvement cycle for 4 years. And so Logan did what it needed to do, got really just intensive with its goals and plans and resources available, and worked with teachers and staff, and that's something to be really proud of. All the other elementary schools, apart from one, are commendable. Also shout out to Adams, just above 3 indicator points, missed exemplary. So that's a goal for us. We want to continue to move the needle and improve in our ratings at each of our schools. We did have 3 schools that ticked down to comprehensive, and I'm going to explain why here next. I want to make sure that this information is clear. Again, a school is in improvement status for 4 years, regardless of the performance for the subsequent years. So for Wilson in 2018, the student group that was underperforming, the state uses the abbreviation CWD, children with disabilities. And this includes students that qualify for an IEP, as well as students that have a 504 plan. So if that group of students is underperforming compared to the rest of the school, there'll be an identified student group. And so you can see that the ratings actually improved for Wilson for those couple of, for 2019 and 2020. In 2021, no schools were rated because of the pandemic. And then children with disabilities ticked up again in 22. So that automatically, since that happened in the 4th year, automatically transitions to comprehensive for that student population of at Wilson. And that is the exact same thing that happened at Lincoln Irving, and the same thing that happened at Deere. So we've got some student population groups that we need to address in terms of their performance as you look at all of the students in the school, but you automatically go to comprehensive if that student group is still identified in year 4. Dr. Pribble, Ms. Sanders, anything you'd want to add to that?
Well, in terms of the children with disabilities, one of the things that we know why the middle schools pop on is because they have enough of that student population that they hit a subgroup level. A lot of our smaller elementaries, they do not have enough students in that taking the IAR in grades 3, 4, and 5 to meet the subgroup level. So that's one factor. And then I think, and that's true for Lincoln Irving as well, one of our more larger elementaries. But I think one of the other things we need to do is really dig into that a little bit more, not just saying all of them, you know, with disabilities, but maybe try to look to make sure that we are maximizing all of our accessibility features, the text-to-speech, the accommodations and supports that you can provide through the IAR to be really supporting those kids as much as possible. Now, we know that those have to be listed on the IEP, and the big date that they look for is anybody with an IEP or a 504 as of December 1st. So we already know who those kids are. Anybody added after that, they're not included in that group. And so we already know as of last week exactly who those kids are. And so making sure that we're maximizing all of those things, I think might be something that we could do as well. So I think we're gonna dig a little bit deeper than we have before, rather than just lumping them all together as equally problematic.
It takes 20 students to.
Takes 20 to make a subgroup.
And, you know, so those 20 students, they come and go, right, over 4 years. So one of the things we're really gonna focus on is with our 1003B funds, which we get for these schools, is it's not just the 20 students that Kristen mentions, it's the rest of them too, and putting practices in place that are gonna meet those needs and keep us in, you know, something replicable over time, using that data for best practice and instruction. Kristen and Leah Peterson have already started to look at some of our tier 3 students, and some of the kids were exiting out of special ed, and what we're doing consistently across the district to unify that practice in all of our buildings. So we're really excited to really work on that and the next 4 years, see what kind of gains we can make.
Actually, the students identified with IEP did decrease, so that number is going down as well. Thank you for that. Couple of other stats regarding the IAR. Let's take a look at our proficiency for English language arts. We are not quite to pre-pandemic levels, but we are moving in the right direction at the positive. With math, you can see that that is 0.0, it's flat, and that is from 21-22 to 22-23. For science proficiency last year, the state changed the metric from participation to proficiency. So that was a change that was made. And then all of the rest of our numbers are there as well. From participation to growth percentile and our 8th graders passing algebra. So wanted to have both that windshield and that rear view mirror so you can see how far we are away from 2018 and whether or not we're moving in the right direction. Also important to note that we have changed the curriculum of all 4 core academic subjects at the elementary level and into middle school. ELA, math, science, and social studies. So we are in an implementation process with those curriculum as well. Point being, we hope that we start to see some gains and moving at a greater trajectory in the right direction moving forward. Again, with the state assessment. Our MAP data, which we're going to talk about here shortly, tells a different story. Here's a couple of other report card stats. 9th graders on track. We are inching our way, but we're not quite there to pre-pandemic levels at just under 80%. Graduation rate has hit pre-pandemic levels at 89% or just close to 89-90%. That is improving, that is moving in the right direction. As far as our graduates enrolled in post-secondary within 12 months after graduation and within 16 months after graduation, those numbers are increasing. And we are inching our way towards pre-pandemic levels on those numbers as well. And I know that this is hard to see, so I will make sure that you have copies of this presentation as well. Couple of other data points of interest on the report card. Average daily attendance is improving. We still have obviously some students with chronic issues, but we're getting closer to pre-pandemic levels. So last year it was 90%, and in 2018 it was 93.6%. So we aspire to continue to move in the right direction. As far as our AP courses and our dual credit students enrolled in dual credit, this is a positive. We have exceeded pre-pandemic levels now and want to continue exposing our kids to rigorous curriculum at the high school level. Kindergarten readiness. This is something that we weren't paying a lot of attention to pre-pandemic in 2018. This is an assessment that the state requires kindergarten teachers to assess their incoming kindergarten students for readiness across 3 developmental areas: social emotional, language and literacy development, and cognition for early math. We invested significantly in professional development so our teachers better understood the assessment and knew what they were looking for. And just that exposure with the assistance of the state, we've been able to more than double that rate. That is positive. I highlighted in gray kind of our theme for the night. What we pay attention to gets improved. And so as we laser in and focus on some of these areas that you're hearing about tonight, what we pay attention to gets improved. So I'm excited to see that growth in the kids' assessment. Turn it over to Dr. Pribble. We've got some slides that tell a positive picture about our MAP growth.
Yeah, so, we've been doing MAP for a long time, and we do it in reading and math, and just a little bit about MAP. It's a normed assessment that adapts, right, to give us a snapshot. It doesn't necessarily test every kid on every standard, but it uses adaptive programming to kind of adjust as students get right or wrong, and it gives us a good snapshot. And doing that fall, winter, and spring, we can use that. And when you talk about the IR and the report card data, that test is standards-based, and it's really about demonstrating mastery on those standards. And there is a linking study with MAP, with IR. But we'll talk a little bit more about that because, IR, we do it once a year. With MAP, we do it 3 times a year. And when you look at our data, everyone suffered under the pandemic with MAP data. And the norms, as Dr. Savage mentioned, are pre-pandemic norms. And one of the things that we've done in the last 4 years, even when we adopted that new ELA curriculum, and we were like one of the only districts that stayed with that, we expected a drop in reading a little bit when you do something like that. But we also increased our focus. We started to revamp our class data tracker sheets, which all teachers take their the fall assessment. They take that MAP data, they break it down for reading and math. And we started to also look at best practices with student goal setting, because we know like effect size, if students are involved in their learning and we kind of bring that to their attention, they're gonna buy in more. And one of the things I got in my hand here, it's hard to see and we didn't put it up there, but this is called a student goal setting reference sheet, right? This is for students and teachers to set those goals. And it talks about the ranges. So it's got high achieving, low achieving. So we're having those conversations and students are seeing where they're falling in. And when you look at this data here, those averages, those average RIT growths where we started in 2022, where we are now, those are significant gains. Moving 19 points as kindergarten, we expect that. And as you go through 8th grade, we expect to see less. As a matter of fact, when you get to 8th grade, we'll take a point or 2 sometimes, or we'll just take the whole kids where they are, depending on where they start. But the bottom line with our MAP data, we're using that data to be focused. We're guiding our instruction. We're having conversations. And we're starting to see a difference, even though last year in the pandemic, I had some stats here for you. In 2022-23, the average loss was still not up to, it was still worse than pre-pandemic levels. But what that really means, what you really need to know is kids were about 4.5 months behind in math last year. 4.5 months. Now you say, okay, what's that mean? Well, think about a school year. That's almost half the year. And as you go up here in grade level, that gap gets bigger. Okay, and the other thing too, we're about 4.1 months behind on normative data across the country in reading. All right, and we know that. So, and you look at, here's the math data here too as well. Those numbers are very promising because we're catching up from where we started a year ago, and we're hitting these data points 3 times a year. So it's not like one and done. So we really get to see that quarterly growth, and we make those pivots as needed. And if you look here, here's just some growth kinders to first. I mean, some of that is just outstanding. And when we can get numbers up, on average, as you go up the grades, it's less growth. But when you're seeing you know, you're talking about like, hey, we want to get our kids to grade level, but we gotta get them, we gotta grow them first before we can get them to grade level. But when you're closing gaps like 28 points, 20, you know, on average 20 points, that's more than a year's of growth in some cases. So I know what we're doing is working and we're getting better at it. We just started this literally 4 years ago across the board as a district, and that data is helping us help us tackle what Dr. Savage mentioned on the report card because of the linking study, and because we know that with map data, we can get premium reports, which I go back to IR, it's about the standards, right? And with the map data we're taking, we can start to, and we're gonna start to look at our long-term data across the board with standards and saying, geez, you know, on the IR, these are standards that we need to focus on, and we can get some of that like litmus tests from our map data to see how we're doing. So we're excited about that.
I would also give a shout out to Trista Sanders. I give her a shout out on a couple of these. She has really been pivotal in the analysis and digging in deep on MAP and also our social emotional screener. So she did a lot of this analysis. I want to give her a shout out. Just a couple of things, school funding metrics wise, evidence-based funding, we are tier 1. We are operating at 68% adequacy of what the state feels we need to educate our students. We spend approximately $14,000 per student annually, and our resources are allocated equitably across all of our schools. You might find in a district where they're not spending the same amount or their buildings, but this is something that we have historically done really well. Speaking of social emotional, we had 2 PACE goals where we continue to focus on student sense of belonging and teacher-student relationships. And you can see the growth there from spring of 22 to spring of 23. Our growth in student sense of belonging as they report in their own assessment is increasing, and our teacher-student relationships is also increasing per student self-reporting. I won't read all of these, but we were able to find a highlight in every single one of our elementary schools for social emotional. Shout out to Willard and Logan, the most growth. Willard had the most growth in sense of belonging and teacher-student relationships, and Logan had the most growth in growth mindset. Wins at Logan once again. Lincoln, Irving, Bicentennial, and Hamilton all scored incredibly high on a national percentile. And Adams, Butterworth, and Hamilton, Lincoln, Irving, and Washington scoring above 70%, and our other schools realizing significant growth. So again, what we pay attention to gets improved. So this is important. We heard all of the different pieces coming together post-pandemic, and we will continue to track this to make sure that we are recognizing the whole child. Couple of stats for our middle schools at Deere, ranked 80th, between 80th and 99th percentile nationally in 7 of 8 categories on diversity and inclusion, and 70% of Wilson at many strengths across the board, and that's been very consistent at Wilson. Couple more metrics. This is our climate and culture assessment, 5 essentials that our staff takes, our families take, and our older kids take. What we pay attention to gets improved. We have really dug into this deeply the last couple of years with our professional development at the administrator level, and now this year at the teacher level. And our focus areas are ambitious instruction, effective leaders, collaborative teachers, involved families, and supportive environment. These factors are proven when working together improve our schools. Bless you. So our metrics ratings of very strong improved, strong and neutral improved, and our very weak improved, meaning lessened by 3. So overall, our spring results from last year, 70% of the metrics are neutral or positive. So we want to beat that, right? We don't get a district score. This is a by building average, 1 by 1, but our principals are laser focused in on these metrics, and our teachers are getting involved. We're engaging students more in this messaging. Dr. Pribble has led a lot of the professional development this year. Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I think with this work in education, we look for that magic potion, right? everything up there, it's hard to deny that if we don't focus on any one of those things, it's gonna have a positive impact. And as Dr. Savage, it's research based. So we're all in on this, and I would add that these metrics improved when we took time to really understand what those metrics are and get a really fresh baseline. So it's really neat to see the work happening at those individual buildings based off these. They can't tackle them all at once, but research says if we focus on a few of them, it'll affect the whole. And so we're excited to see where this takes us.
Principals have done a great job aligning their school improvement goals to these metrics as well. So wrapping up, what we focus on gets improved. What are our goals moving forward? Advance our commendable schools to exemplary, advance our comprehensive schools to commendable, intense focus on core academics, deeper analysis of IAR and instructional practices. We've already sent a core team for additional professional development on this, and that we will continue to do. Deeper dive into the MAP Premier reports that Dr. Pribble spoke about. A deeper dive into the focused skills for each instructional standard so that we can drill down to the exact deficits for each individual student. Increased alignment, accountability, and monitoring of school improvement plans. Focus on our absenteeism, and really just keep teaching our way out of it. And so really the last slide here is just a picture of our strategic goals aligned to the 5 essentials, and what we focus on gets improved. So we are not there yet, but we are moving in the right direction. And just huge shout out to our teachers and staff and our parents. It has been a whirlwind the last number of years. We're stronger for it, and we're going to just keep teaching our way out of it, I guess. So I know that was a lot. I tried to move through it relatively quickly. Any questions out of the gates? And I'll certainly share these slides with you so you can take some time to process.
I just had one question back toward the schools and comprehensive. We talked about when it reaches density, then at the middle school, so that's when they tick up typically to that level. When we're doing our deeper dive into that, are we looking at the schools and even though it's not reaching that capacity at some of the elementary schools, the students that are coming to those middle schools that maybe also are not meeting
Yeah,
those
so
levels?
what's different instructionally at those
Yeah.
buildings, or is there anything
Yeah.
different instructionally? And I would say, if looking at all of our elementary schools, they don't all have identical resources. And that's one of the things that we've been talking about, trying to assess, is to make sure all of the elementaries have each piece of the best curriculum that we know works to fix dyslexia and reading disabilities, and we know what those things are. But I think it's been a little hit and miss with some of what the buildings have, and so staff turnover will result in not all teachers having the same training and resources as some of our veteran teachers who have more experience with some of those things. And I know one of our schools that probably has one of the best success rates and dismissal rates of children with disabilities have one of our veteran teachers who has been there for a really long time and has a great system there. And so I think we're going to be looking at that to make sure that there's not inequities among the schools as well. So, and it's not something that happens in isolation. The kids with disabilities, they're not all in self-contained programs, and so it's not unrelated to what's going on in the general education classroom either. They work together to help educate, kids with disabilities. And so it's not a standalone thing. And so we have to look at all of it, not just, well, who are our special education teachers? And so we are looking at that.
Thanks for sharing. And thank you for all of the data. This is great. Thank you.
Dr. Savage, I have a few questions, but
Yes.
if you don't mind, I would
Yes.
just like to send them in an email.
Sure.
And just maybe an opportunity for us to just bring this back to the forefront.
Sure.
In collaboration with where we look at our PACE goals for the year.
Yes.
And I have some of those conversations and kind of embed that, but I have a few questions. They're more process and just.
And I'll share these slides too, and that'll help, and then we'll make an appointment. Thank you.
I just have one quick one, probably more for you guys that are doing number crunching. pre-pandemic to post-pandemic, are we seeing a group of kids that were impacted differently or harder, say, grade school kids during pandemic, middle school to high school? Like now that we're looking at these numbers, is there a group that we can see now that was impacted on a much bigger basis?
Yeah, like if you look at last year's young kids with MAP data, we didn't really see a drop with like kindergartners coming in. Like they performed close to the regular norms. But, you know, some of the gaps that have been left with the older, you know, that gap widens. When I talk about 4.5 months on average, in some cases at the middle schools, we're talking 7 months of instruction needed to make it up. And you know, one of the things that we need to just accept, because, you know, measuring with the IR, for example, with our schools, we're all reading teachers. Because the kids got to be able to comprehend and understand, even in our new math curriculum, is a big step in that direction, right? Because it's a lot of reading. So we're really embracing that idea. We've all got to take ownership in that, like Kristen said. And you know, we've got the data. We can look at every classroom in the district by grade, and we've got data to show what's working. And it's just unifying that together. And we've set the table with the curriculum. We're working on the intervention pieces, the tier 2 and the tier 3 strategies, and just trying to put the best practices in place and teach our way to success.
Thank you.
And Brian, with that correlation, aren't you guys doing some correlations between the MAP, like growth piece, and then the IAR that will help us better understand where we need to go?
Yeah, so on the premium, I would say, so the nice thing about MAP we can get from those premium reports is a standard breakdown across the, you know, everyone that takes it. So then when we look at the IR, one of the things Dr. Savage mentioned, we sent a team to Washington, Illinois, and it was a great workshop. We learned a ton about the IR and those standards, and we just haven't put that spotlight there. But with everything else we've worked on, we're improving. So it's really exciting time. Like I mean, this data is awesome. And the next 4 years, to what you said, we know that the premium reports, it costs a little bit more money, but we know it's going to be worth it because it's going to give us a breakdown immediately of what standards we're weak in. And then we can look at the IR and the correlation with our current MAP data and see if we're making growth on those and adjust accordingly. Because if you talk to our teachers, they're working, our principals, they're working hard. We've put 4 new curriculums in place. We've made some philosophical shifts, and there's just a lot out there. Now it's time to get good at what we're doing, dial in on those specific areas, and use that data to lead.
And I would say, as a parent, kudos to the district, the buildings, the teachers, and everybody on the staff in really creating a culture around data. The kids come home. I hear my kids on FaceTime talking about, I got this in MAP, and you have to have this to be in honors. And so that is exciting to hear kids talking about their own data. I think the premium reports will do a lot for us as adults, but that will help spill over, because that whole notion of growth versus proficiency is where it becomes real and we become commendable or exemplary or comprehensive, because sometimes it's a false picture. I'm doing well here because I'm growing, but I've not met that grade level proficiency. So I think that's going to be big in helping our kids. And I wrote down here, how do we help our parents understand what it is that we need from them to get our kids where we need to get them? Because you already said it, it's a collective effort, and we got where we are now because we've all, done it together. But keeping those parents in the loop as to how they can help to continue to support their kids is something I'm looking forward to. I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, we'll move to adjourn the committee of the whole. Do you have a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will adjourn for. You guys need a break? All right, we're gonna,
Abby's gotta head out. Thank you, Abby.
Yeah.
Bye, have a good night.
thank you to
Heading to
the
the engineering open.
Logan staff. Let's do 5 minutes, and then we'll jump into
Sounds good.
to
Okay.
the
We're taking a
calling to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education School District Number 40, immediately following the Committee of the Whole meeting on Monday, December 11th, 2023 at the Coolidge Professional Development Room. Could I have a roll call, please?
Audrey Adamson.
Here.
Chet Smith.
Here.
Ramona Dixon.
Here.
Jason Farrell.
Here.
Nancy Hines. Andrew Ware.
Here.
Aaron Walden Smith. Abby Greenlee. Justin Calarpo.
All right, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next, number 3 on the agenda is approval of the minutes. The recommended motion is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Education, November 13th, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Uh,
It's all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Approval of the minutes of the closed session of the Board of Education, November 23rd, 2023. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, approval of the minutes of the special meeting of the Board of Education, November 27th. I could have done this one.
You're doing good. You're doing
All
good.
right, whatever. November 27th, 2023. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Perfect.
All right, sorry, guys.
No, that was right.
It's
You
been
did
a
it
while.
right.
All right, communications, public comment and participation. We do have one, Mr. Rasso.
How's it going? So I'm Eric Grasso. I'm speaking on behalf of the Friends of Bowling Softball. I'm the one that sent the letter back in September 6th to the school board and everything else about the facilities of our softball and baseball programs. I understand, and I want to say first off, thank you for doing the study that you guys did last, that you approved for the 5 years, or to do the study with getting the coaches involved and getting the answers from them. So thank you for taking that first step into making our athletics facilities better. I also was I understood from talking to a couple people that the dugouts were going to be fixed because of the safety of our athletes. Those dugouts in the softball field were sagging, and the head and some of the beams were kind of rotted out and everything else like that. We are in December now, and nothing has been done. So the reason I'm speaking tonight, I just kind of want to resurface that and to maybe keep pushing that ball forward and up the hill. And like I said, with it being December, we didn't know what's around the corner and what's going to be start flying in the air next. And with our first softball game being March 13th at home. Most likely those usually get canceled, but the next one's March 26th. Again, this is our home schedule each year. Kind of versus, we have 14 home games this year, and then next year we have 12. Or then the next year it's only like 8 or so, so it's not as many. But with that being said, like I said, I like to see those dugouts being done sooner than later, especially with the weather going to be taking a turn for the worse. I know you guys can't answer anything like that, so like I said, I'm not asking for answers like that. I'm just trying to resurface the letter that I originally wrote back on September 6th. And I understand the field's not going to be in top shape, but if we can get the dugouts for the safety of our players and visitors, that would be much appreciated. That's all I got.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate your update. All right. Next on the agenda is the public hearing for the tax levy. We will now begin the hearing of the tax levy. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the tax levy? All right. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the tax levy? Is there anyone who wishes to speak neither for nor against the tax levy, but wishes to offer additional information?
I would just like to present fund balance.
Doesn't count. No, he's not making a comeback.
All right.
Sorry. We have a side back.
Alright. Mr. Gallo, please. Since you-
So nothing has changed on these fund balances since I last presented. But just to follow Illinois School Code, we just have to have those displayed at our next hearing here, so. As you can see here, the beginning fund balances are from our AFR. The revenues and expenditures are from our FY '24 budget. And nothing here for transfers between funds are displayed in this. So you can see in the capital projects fund, you have a $5.5 million surplus. That's technically not going to happen since we are going to abate about 3 million of that for debt services on those alternative revenue bonds. So just that's why that asterisk is there on that capital projects. Any questions on these?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright. Hearing no public comment, which Mr. Gallo doesn't count, we will now close the hearing of the tax levy. Alright, thank you. Alright, next is the consent agenda. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the actions contained in the consent agenda as presented. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any
Roll call.
comments? Do you have anything on that?
Nothing on that.
I didn't just like, alright, all in favor?
No, we're doing a roll call.
Roll call, okay.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Lindsay, Aaron, Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Andrew Weir.
Aye. Alright, motion passes. The next on the agenda, are going to be a bunch of policies. We were fortunate enough that, these are all, grouped into like minor changes. And I know if you guys saw, Dr. Savage sent the, kind of cheat sheet of what were like just minor, changes and, footnote changes versus what actually had some more detailed substantive changes. So I know we had talked before about not waiving the second reading on ones that have like some actual changes on that. And if you guys are open to that, I would prefer that. That's my preference. But for the ones that have just the footnote changes, I think we're
Bundle.
yeah, they're bundled up. So. All right. Does that make any sense? Because
That makes sense, but they're all, like, the 307 pages of stuff that we got, they were all
you didn't
like-
read it?
Yeah, I
Last
did.
night?
Yeah,
Okay.
last night.
Yeah.
I was like, ask the cabinet. I was in there
Yeah, she
last
was, she
night.
was reading it.
But, so do we then just go, can we just blanketly approve all the ones that are just footnote changes?
Yes.
So we have to go motion by motion, so we have, I would just go each policy at a time, okay? If you want, so the recommended motion reads that we have the first reading, okay? If you want to then waive the second reading, then you waive that, and then you read that language, and then that one gets voted on and approved, and then that one will be done. Otherwise, if you want to not waive the second, for those you don't want to waive the second reading for, you're just gonna vote on the recommended motion as it's in here, just the first reading. You don't read anything on your extra page. You can discuss it if you want during the period of discussion. Or you can just vote on the recommended motion that the first reading stands. And then over the next month, right, until January 8th, that's when the second reading will be back on. And so it's not approved until that meeting, January 8th.
And that's what we said we were gonna do.
Yeah. Because that will kind of give us all a chance to think about these more in depth.
So each one has a letter explaining what's changed, and then we also have the cheat sheet as well, and this is what, we get too. And so, I would just read the recommended motion as it's on your board agenda, and then you can decide for that one if it's one you want to waive or if it's one you want to hold over until the 8th.
All right. Here we go.
Cross-reference sheet here. for
We can
myself.
do some cross-referencing here.
I think I can.
Okay. Recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 220, powers and duties of the school board identification as presented. So I have to have a motion to talk about this.
This is one where it's just footnotes. So I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
Then we need a first and the second for that.
Or so moved, sorry, so moved.
Second.
And now you vote.
All right, roll call.
220 down here, Andy. Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
This point's the wrong one.
You said 220, yeah. Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Look at this.
That was 220. Yep.
It's the one down here.
That one's all done.
All right.
I'm gonna put a big X by it.
Shoot, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You were right. I'm sorry.
Now we're on
But same deal,
110.
it's just footnotes. Okay. Now we're on number 8. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 2-110, qualifications, terms, and duties of board officers as presented. And this is again a small,
Not changed.
no change.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Discussion? All right, roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Okay, number 9, recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 2-120, board member development as presented. Now, there were some changes to that, right, or is that no changes?
It was just small
Because it-
language.
Language changes.
Just redefined, right? Added
And it just
definitions.
added, I think, trauma
Footnote.
response learning, right?
Right.
Okay. So that is actually something we talked about before, that we need to, even more senior members have to take
Yeah.
that training too, so.
That's right.
We need to get to that this year, or this coming year. Okay, anyways. Sorry, Chad.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Jump out.
No, you're good.
Give her another
All
credit.
right,
Oh, we already said that.
discussion,
Shields.
roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Number 10, the recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 2-200, types of school board meetings as presented. Can I have a motion? This one allows for remote board. Wait, no. Allows board to review.
Open meeting, there's a changes, they added another exception for the Open Meetings Act, and that is the one if, about a community member.
Yeah, it's allowing a board to review in closed session the banning of an individual from school
So
property.
That's a big change because they added a whole exception.
Yeah, and this is actually something that this board has dealt with before in the past, so I don't, do you,
So moved.
We need a second.
Second.
Okay, and now you need to discuss it.
discussion? So this one is kind of a major change, so I think.
It's not major because when I read it, 8:30 is visitors to and from on school, like how people conduct themselves on school property. And it really just defined what a staff member is versus a visitor, and it just really spells that out. So it's really not a big change. It's still
Not a
the same.
change to like a process.
This is just
really,
adding something that can be a
Eight
closed
thirty
meeting
isn't a
session.
major change because we've always kind of had that on, in terms of visitors conduct on school property. This piece is, adding an exception to what you can talk about in closed session. That it's not currently a category for closed session
but it can be.
Now, this is proposal that it can be.
So we're just adding this language about permitting boards to meet in closed session, like we have.
For this topic.
Employment, and then we're just.
Yeah,
adding
it
this,
adds a
yeah.
topic.
Denial of admission is the
Mm.
topic now.
Which I think is important. It's good, so.
I'm open to what anybody wants to
Well,
do.
we had a motion and a second to just accept the first reading, and so you can just
Let's do that.
research a little bit more and vote on the 8th.
All right, let's
Okay.
do that.
So Chet DeSmit. Oh, we're gonna
Aye.
roll call.
Roll call, yeah.
Sorry. Chet DeSmit,
Aye.
Ramona Dixon,
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson,
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Okay,
Circle that one.
first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 220, School Board Meeting Procedure. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 220, School Board Meeting Procedure as presented. Now, this one is
It's the
the,
exhibit to the policy that you just did.
And it added a reason why you could attend remotely.
why,
Yes,
yeah, and that's for like sick
childcare,
childcare issues.
yeah.
I
So,
would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second.
So moved. Second.
roll call, or no, discussion. All right, roll call.
Ramona Dixon,
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson,
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right, number 12, the recommended motion.
Awake, are you awake over there?
I was apologizing to Jeff.
Yeah, poor
I
kid.
was checking to say, make sure he's awake.
This is the really exciting stuff.
This is where, yes. First reading of the revised Board of Education Policy, Section 3, General School Administration. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policies for General School Administration, Section 350, Administrative Personnel other than the superintendent as presented. These were very minor footnote changes. As I
Election.
I would like to waive the
Change the
second
election
reading.
day, right? Yeah,
Make it a school holiday.
okay. And that is already state law. All right,
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson,
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon,
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Number 13, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy, Section 4, Operational Services. It is the recommended motion that the Board of Education accepts for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 410, Fiscal and Business Management, 430, Revenue and Investments, 490, Student Activity and Fiduciary Funds, 4160, Environmental Quality of Building and Grounds, and 4170, Safety as presented.
So those are all lumped
Yeah, they're
together
bundled.
and no changes or footnotes.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All right, roll call.
Audrey Anderson,
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon,
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Number 14, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 460, Purchases and Contracts. Recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 460, Purchases and Contracts as approved. So this is quite a
So
bit.
moved.
This one moves, ups the threshold, right?
Yeah, but this one also, Vince, allows for the design build.
It allows the board to approve the design build, design bid build, which is the typical way we do our projects. It could help us have some cost savings in the future if we ever did decide to do a project like that. But it does not prohibit or hinder us in doing a design bid build in any way. It just is an addition to, that we're allowed to do something like that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the design build model. Just, there's a lot of, you could have some savings, but there's a lot of trust in that contractor. So I'm not gonna.
We need a second.
Oh, yeah, we did. Jason and
No,
Jason.
You just so moved. I
For-
didn't.
Second,
Jason.
Jason, okay.
Somebody.
Just leave us.
So all we have is the first reading. So, any other discussion?
Is the second part of that is this candidate talks to substantially present things at a regular board meeting, so is that changed in terms of the amount of detail and things we have to provide regarding new contracts in a board meeting? I mean, when I was reading it forward, it just has the word substantially present, which seems kind of vague-ish, but didn't know if we knew what kind of that meant in terms of our in-depth that we need to go to in public meeting regarding discussion about contracts.
Yeah, we would just have to have a little bit more detail
Okay.
on those contracts.
It
On
seems
those
very
design
kind of
build.
vague, substantially,
Yeah,
but that,
with the design build,
okay,
procedure.
sounds good, thank you. That's all.
All right, roll call. All right, do we have any more discussion? Don't wanna shut.
So is that just the first reading or are we?
This is
waiting?
just the first reading.
So we're coming back to that one.
We're gonna get back to that. We're gonna circle back.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell. Andrew Ware.
No.
Wait, you, let's just be clear. So that was a no on, you didn't want to waive the first reading? Because that's what we just agreed to.
No, this one is moving
mean-
this to the
You're
second.
pushing this to January.
We're pushing it to the second.
Yeah,
So what,
I can't hear.
help me.
so you get to
help-
vote on it twice. You get
So
to vote it.
You said no?
I voted no on it because I don't like the idea of the design build. And then it's gonna come back again, so I can vote no on it again
Okay.
in January. So you're just voting on this policy twice.
So we had 4 people vote and they'll come back in January 8th.
But I'm just trying to clarify. We weren't really voting on the policy just now.
Correct.
We were voting on.
Bringing it back.
Bringing it back to
Bringing it back.
discussion.
Okay, just want to.
But he's so vehemently against.
I'm
it. He's
so
gonna vote
vehemently
no.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
this is just,
That's what I'm trying to pull out.
That I-
This is just Andy
wait
voting
until
no
we get
because
to
he's
having
really
graduation
doesn't like
somewhere.
it. Yeah.
Just
Yep, you wait, cause it's gonna come out real. No. Approve that graduation contract.
Yeah, I have my graduation planned already now.
All right, number 15, first reading of a revised Board of Education policy for 130, free and reduced price food services. It is recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education policy for 130, free and reduced price food services as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand, first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? That one was just a reformatting of that policies. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell. Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right, number 16. First reading of the revised Board of Education policy, section 5, personnel. It is the recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading revised Board of Education policies for personnel sections 530, hiring process and criteria, 550, drug and alcohol, free workplace, e-cigarette, tobacco, and cannabis prohibition, 590, abuse, neglected child reporting, 5120, employee ethics, code of professional conduct, and conflict of interest, 5150, personnel records, 5190, teacher qualifications as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
Second.
Discussion. All right, roll call.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right, number 17, first reading of revised Board of Education policy 5200, terms and conditions of employment and dismissal. It is the recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education policy 5200, terms and conditions of employment and dismissal as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Talk about it, what's in it.
Yeah, so discussion. So there's, say,
5200.
yeah, 5200, which
Yep.
is right here.
Mhm.
There were some legal references updated. And then the footnotes were updated
And the policy.
in the policy in general. No.
About the
Okay.
hiring.
Yep.
Educators and specials.
Okay, yes.
And just, I mean, just from an HR standpoint, Todd, I know a lot has come along with face law and just some different requirements. Are you comfortable in, feeling like everything that's updated here, the legal
Kind
references?
of my point last time we discussed this, a lot of what you're gonna see in section 5 is embedded in both labor law as well as school code. So in most cases, there's not a lot of legal flexibility beyond what's being recommended. For this one, in case in point, the physical education, music or visual arts, higher prioritizing that, we do that. There are districts that might be in situations where they can't find the fully licensed or endorsed individual, so there's a caveat where if they have a certain number of courses, they could teach that. So, we're operating under school code and labor law pretty much in almost all we do, in terms of policy. So I think anytime we would move away from that, we would want to be cautious of that and make sure that if we're not comfortable with how it's presented, that we loop our legal team in to any changes that might be needed for that, just to make sure we're not, putting the district in a difficult situation.
And I know we have our labor, agreements here, so.
Correct, so a lot of that will be embedded, a lot of that, but again, keep in mind, our contracts we have don't take precedence over the law, right, or school code.
Thank you.
All right. Any more discussion? Okay, roll call.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell. Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
That one's gonna come back.
All right, next one is first reading of revised Board of Education Policy 5210, resignations. It's recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 5210, resignations as presented. Motion?
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading. Because this is something that we already kind of put in place.
Second.
Discussion? Oh, we already did. All in, roll call.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Number 19 is the first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 5220, substitute teachers. It is recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 5220, substitute teachers as presented.
Same, I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Discussion.
We need a second.
Second.
All right, yes, just footnote pods. All right, roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell. Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right, number 20, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 5250, leave of absences. Recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 5250, leave of absences as presented. Motion.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and the second. This is an update to state.
Yes.
So
Second.
All right, roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon. Aye. Jason Farrell. Andrew Ware.
Aye. First reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 5330, sick days, vacation, holidays, and leaves. The recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 5330, sick days, vacation, holidays, and leaves as presented.
Same, I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon. Aye. Jason Farrell. Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right. First reading of the revised Board of Education Policy, Section 6, Instruction. Recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading revised Board of Education Policy 615, School Accountability, 620, School Year Calendar and Day, 630, Organization of Instruction, 665, Student Social and Emotional Development, 627, Guidance and Counseling Program, and 6280, Grading and Promotions as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right, number 23, the first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 650, School Wellness. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading revised Board of Education Policy 650, School Wellness as presented.
I'd like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
just only a question on that, with the school wellness, piece, we contract out our, food services, so how does this pertain, or does it not? Do they do that do they work in collaboration with, the district, or does Vince's department just submit on behalf of?
You still have to have a wellness policy.
Okay.
The district still has to have that, even though we do contract that out.
Okay.
So they just follow that wellness policy on how it's set up.
Is that like incorporated in the contract or?
That's out to, food services out to bid this year.
Mhm.
When is that timeline?
We are planning to go out to bid in the beginning of March.
But this update's just a federal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of not, we're not making a district,
This is,
it's in line
yeah.
with the federal
Yes,
change.
exactly.
Nice.
All right. Roll call.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell. Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chip Smith.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
Did we waive or did we go?
We waived the second.
Okay.
And waived Chet. He was first and under the second.
Thank you.
First reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 660, Curriculum Content. Recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading revised Board of Education Policy 660, Curriculum Content as presented. Now, this one is, that is quite a bit. There's quite a bit to
So
this.
moved.
Second.
Now you guys can talk about it.
Discussion.
Can we just have a little update on how cause they talk about drugs and.
This is the Native American history and dangers of fentanyl.
I was like,
I know it's 9 through 12 and, what's this?
But it does start, already
9
next.
through 12, who's secondary? Matt's not here, so
Yes.
sorry, his name.
Yeah,
didn't
we
come
can
up.
bring
I'm online. I can help out if you need to.
Oh, hey, Matt.
Voices.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. I'm homesick.
hear that.
So do you have any questions about?
Do you have any questions for Matt?
Yes, just like his perspective on the
Yeah.
updates and how it fits in with our current and existing curriculum.
Right.
Or are
Great
there-
question. Great question. Yeah, it does fit in. It's actually something we've been ahead of the game on. So the part of the changes, besides the footnotes and everything that you guys already know about, is that they also update like the Asian American history, where previously when you adopted this policy, which this is our a big one for section 6. It went from beginning the fall of or whatever it might be, and they take that language out because it's now established. So the two new established pieces is the dangers of fentanyl and Native Americans. Those are the really the big ones for this. And we ended up working to identify where these are going to be done within the curriculum. And luckily for these two big pieces, they really are items that we've already had our eye on. So we have them identified as to how we're teaching them within the curriculum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Matt. Hope you feel better.
Thank you. I like you guys too much to infect you.
Yeah, we appreciate that
I
greatly.
just feel like I'm watching Tron right now.
Yeah.
It's a very old reference, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. All right. Roll call.
Jason Farrell,
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chip Smith.
Aye.
Daniel Dixon.
Aye. Number 25, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 6230, Library Media Program. Recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading revised Board of Education Policy 6230, Library Media Program as presented. This is in response to
The banning of.
the banning of books.
Bans
So
the bans.
Illinois is taking a stand that we will not ban any books. And this is the conformity of the state law.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All right, roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Weir.
All right, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 750, school admission and student transfer to and from non-district schools. 770, attendance and truancy. 7250, student support services. 7285, anaphylaxis prevention, response and management program. And 7345, use of educational technology, student data privacy and security. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 750, school admission student. I'm gonna do this again. 750, school admissions and transfers to and from the non-district school. 770, attendance and truancy. 7250, student support services. 7285, anaphylaxis prevention, response and management program. 7345, use of educational technologies and student data privacy and security as presented.
These are all minor.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Just on the 7:60 residents, I know
That's our next. item.
This is, we're on number
Oh, okay.
26 right now.
okay, sorry.
So yeah, that one's pulled off separately, so we can talk about that one next.
Perfect.
Any more discussion? All right, roll call please.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet Smith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Weir.
Aye. All right, now, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 760, residents. Recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 760, residents as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Very timely. Discussion.
So this is the policy that allows boards to permit a employee to enroll their student in the district on a tuition-free basis.
I see some of the districts that received the teacher shortage money from the state of Illinois using these and other measures to attract and recruit teachers in locations where they are otherwise unable to do so.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a lot of pertains to us, but. All right, roll call.
Audrey
Do you
Adamson.
have a question?
Yeah.
That's just the
You're
first
just
reading.
the first reading.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aye.
Chet DeSmith.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
And I think just to be fair, the only thing that I will have a question about is what process we will use to determine who gets in and who doesn't from a staff perspective, so that we can maintain a fair and equitable process of who gets in and who doesn't under this staff residency.
You can choose not to approve the policy, you know. Or moving forward, you don't have to have a practice at all. Or you'd probably need to create some AP that would be associated with it, that would want to ensure that it is an equitable admission, because not all children are the same, right? And so you could have a staff member with a very disabled child who is, the cost per student is maybe twice what it would be to have another employee that has a non-disabled child. And so those are all just factors that you would need to consider if you would want to develop procedures that allow that, and it's, there's a lot to it.
So would you guys, as a cabinet, come with a recommendation, and then because you feel some type of way about it, like theoretically, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent from our viewpoint, you will make a recommendation to us, and then we'll approve or disapprove from that, based on that. But I'm just saying, as a board member,
Yeah.
in order for us to make the most sound judgment, we would need to know how you would go about doing
How,
that to
yeah,
see
you want
if
some
it's something
details
we-
on how that would look and how that would pan out
Yeah.
before you vote. Okay.
So I just
great.
wanna be transparent
that's-
about
I
what I
mean,
would be looking
I
for.
think it's good that we have several weeks to really consider that a little bit more and bring back to you on the 8th.
Thank you so much.
And we can certainly talk to districts that allow it, and what those factors are, for them that they've noticed, in terms of their practice.
It comes at a cost to districts, so I think those that are choosing to do so are doing so strategically for that recruitment and retention piece.
Yeah.
They're hard to fill, it's a way that they can get staff.
And I don't know, now that you've really got me thinking about it, if there are districts that do allow that, is there a situation where they would want to then unenroll that student? I mean, it goes, both way, allowing them in and having them exit, and what, I have no idea. Yeah.
Because when you start to have situations of being overloaded or grade
right.
levels, kind of.
Class size and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about.
Yeah, thank you.
So that one come back, and that is number 27.
Okay, number 28, first reading of the revised Board of Education policies 7160, student appearance, and 7165, school uniforms. Recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education policy 7160, student appearance, and 7165, school uniforms as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and all the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So
Second.
I would just say that this is a change to how.
But it's a state law, right? Like,
Yes,
It
and
is
so
a-
it's aligned with our current policy and procedures and so it allows like graduation, caps and gowns or school uniforms that they are
schools are different.
culturally, they can, the way that we don't have any restrictions on those cultural
Yeah, we
preferences
can't
for
restrict that.
hairstyle, or anything, we would not restrict that.
And that's a state
See it.
standard, right, Todd? That's a state law now, so it's not us beyond it, right?
Okay.
It's aligned with school code and our current policy.
Okay.
To allow students to express
To express
themselves,
themselves, yep.
as they have
All right, roll call.
Chet DeSmit,
Aye.
Ramona Dixon,
Aye.
Jason Farrell. Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Okay, number 29, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 7190, student behavior. Recommended motions that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 7190, student behavior as presented.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Yeah,
Yep, so that's a significant incident, would occur, when we would notify, like parents of significant behavior, things like that, so.
all right. We have a motion.
We had yes, just for the first
Okay,
reading.
discussion?
So for something like this, when we do bring in January, are we as a district putting something together? Because it says like this optional language. Do we have something in the works for how we're gonna?
Yes, so, with some of these, there are two choices that we can, there's one or two choices that we can adopt that, based on the preference of the board, which we would select, that would be embedded then in that. And so there's about 4 of these policies where we have to go and make a choice on how we want it to read. And so we'll bring that back with that choice. I think there's a 4, there's a section 6.1, and there's a 7 or so, with the choice of how we want that to read, and then we'll have that to present for the final reading.
Okay, roll call.
Ramona Dixon,
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Number 30, first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 7270, administering medicines to students. The recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 7270, administering medicines to students as presented.
So I can tell you, if just, we are already doing that. It used to be a may have opioid antagonists, may have available. And so we always did that. We always got a prescription for that and had those available at our secondary schools. And so now this is a you must.
We've used them too.
And we have used them. And then the other part of that is if you have a special ed facility and that you are required to have an undesignated oxygen tank, we don't have a separate special ed facility, so that part does not apply to it.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
So
Second.
Discussion.
We already had this.
Well, so it's helped to know
just
if you
gonna
even
do it
want to
either.
waive it or not. That's what's
All right.
tough about it. like,
Roll call.
Yeah. Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
Just trying to help you out.
First reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 7290, suicide and depression awareness and prevention. Recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 7290, suicide and depression awareness and prevention as presented.
We already do it because we have the mental health first aid training,
right.
So. that is-
Yes, we already have that embedded.
Yeah.
We're still working through the train the trainer model, get everybody
Yeah,
trained,
everybody
but
it's in
Kristen
process,
has
yeah.
taken the lead on those schools.
Yes. I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both first and second reading.
So moved.
second.
Roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmit.
Aye.
Ramona Dixon. Aye. Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Number 32,
Last one. though.
first reading of the revised Board of Education Policy 830, visitors to and conduct on school property. Recommended motion is that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 830, visitors to and conduct on school property as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow the first reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
So moved.
Second.
Great, roll call.
Audrey Adamson. Aye. Chip Smith.
Aye.
Lynn Dixon. Aye. Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Good job, team.
Thank you for these.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
We'll do that in the future.
That was great.
So you have 6 coming back for January 8th.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, approval of special education paraprofessional program, or paraprofessional Logan Elementary. It is the recommended motion that the Board of Education approve a special education paraprofessional for Logan Elementary for the remainder of the 2023-2024 school year to work 29.75 hours per week, receiving a salary of approximately $18,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chip Smith.
Aye.
Luana Dixon. Aye. Jason Farrell. Andrew Ware.
Aye. Approval of the resolution for the 2023 tax levy. It is the recommended motion that the Board of Education of the Moline Coal Valley School District Number 40, Rock Island County, Moline, Illinois, adopt the resolution approving the official tax levy as listed.
So moved.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Chip Smith.
Aye.
Luana Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. Approval of resolution for the 2023 tax abatement. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the resolution abating all of the property taxes heretofore levied for the year 2023 to pay debt service on the general obligation school bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2018 of Community Unit School District Number 40, Rock Island County, Illinois.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Luana Dixon.
Aye.
Jason Farrell.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chip Smith.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right, reports, requests, and open discussion. Dr. Savage.
First of all, shout out to Mr. Rosso and for Juthin, Gold Star, sitting through all of that. Appreciate that. I know that is something. We got our official catalog. If you remember, Han Furniture chose Hamilton to come and do a photo shoot. So I'll pass this around, but Hamilton made the cover and then also the inside of the last page. So you can see some of our locations highlighted. I wanted to pass that around. First board meeting in January, just a reminder that we will be transitioning to the black box in the Bartlett Performing Arts Center, beginning the first board meeting in January, which is on the 8th. Will Bowen, speaking of January 8th, this is also our Teacher Institute Day and our first day back for all staff after winter break. Our speaker is Will Bowen, who is going to grace us with his vision of a complaint-free world. Maya Angelou called Will Bowen one of her great spiritual heroes, and she provided the foreword for his #1 international best-selling book, A Complaint-Free World, which we have copies that we're going to be giving out to some lucky winners. The book sold nearly 4 million copies and is in over 40 countries, so that'll be very interesting. As a reminder, board members are always welcome to attend. For the January Institute Day, we break it up into 2 separate keynotes. So you're welcome to attend either or both sessions, both in the auditorium. The AM session will be with the secondary staff, and that's from 8 to 9:30. And then the second session is with the elementary staff, and that will be from 10 to 11:30. And I'll put that back out in an email as well. You're welcome to join. We'd love to have you. Next, I would like to take a moment and officially thank Kristen. I know we are going to be transitioning board secretaries in January, and I anticipate she will be stepping into more of a supportive role as we onboard Dr. DeBain. She may still be sitting at the table as she's been supporting Tara in her onboarding, but I have had, as many of us, have had a front row seat for nearly 5 years and have seen the work that she has done to support the board in all of the process associated with board meetings, agendas, minutes, deadlines, timelines, policy. It is not everyone's favorite job, but she has done it like a champ, and I want to just personally thank you and give her a round of applause. A little something,
It's a little
something
mini board handbook, right?
to make, to make you laugh
Just in case you
because
missed this.
I love to make you laugh. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. for
Um,
everything you've done.
My pleasure.
Share Joys, I want to turn it over to Juthan, who has earned his time tonight. And I don't want to steal his thunder. He's got the final number for us. One of the greatest service learning projects in the United States of America, started, in my opinion, started back in 1949. And so, Juthan, you've got the floor.
So firstly, I just want to say big shout out to Dr. Savage for what she did,
Oh.
because one of our biggest kind of ways we get money through Share Joys is our raffle, and each year we try to hit 2 TVs, and we were struggling to find TVs this year, and she donated both of the TVs for our raffles.
You're supposed to say the number.
I'll get there. I'll get there, but I just want to start with that. It was really helpful. We did a lot, and it was really fun time. So with that all being said, a final number was $51,249 this year. That is the. And I know you guys love statistics, so that is the third biggest total we've had in the total of Share Joys every year. That's the third largest total. And in 74 years, this was the 74th, we reached a pivotal point, which was $1.5 million raised. So now we're at $1,500,000 and 536, or $500,000. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, you go around.
And that, the other number that I had was that will now provide clothing and needs for 351 local students from all 15 of our schools. So, anything else you'd like to share about the Share Joys days?
I just think it was a really fun time. It was great. It was honestly just great, and I love the sense of community that we build in those 2 days, and I think it's wonderful that what we do, and yeah, it's really great tradition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, financial and facilities report.
So financial report, the Ed Fund, we are tracking right on track. We're at 23.2% revenue for the year, and then 21.1% expenditures. So based on historical values, we're right on track. Overall, through all funds, we're at 21% and then 22% expended. And the only reason why that is the case is because of our capital projects and operations. With all of the construction that was going on at the beginning of the year, we expended a lot more than we received. But you will see in the next, in the November reconciliation, that will all be caught up because of the federal grant revenue that's coming. Overall, our fund balances are 113 million, and Ed Fund is at 68 million. So we are looking good there on all of those numbers. So everything is good.
Thank you.
As far as financial report, the facilities report, just wanted to give everybody an update on all the projects that we've been doing this year and what we're planning on doing this upcoming spring. Currently, the Lincoln, Irving, and Washington projects are about 98% complete. Washington, we're just working on some closing paperwork and getting some quotes for new blinds. With some of the contingency money that was left over, we're going to use that on some of the blinds to replace all the blinds throughout the building. The Lincoln Irving project, we just have to do the testing on the chiller, but we have to wait until the spring to do all that. So that is just a waiting game on that one. The Wilson and high school roofs, those are 100% complete. Butterworth and Horace Mann parking lots are 100% completed. Bathroom doors at the high school are all back on. We're working with the PEC Center vendor on the flooring. We have to get that all restriped, so we're just trying to figure out a time slot because you can't do it, during school hours because of the fumes that produces. So welding room bids are all completed, and that project is slated for this summer. The Moline High School front entrance bid came back a little higher than expected. So we're working with that contractor to see how we can get those costs down. The John Deere stage lighting is planned to be completed over winter break. And then the Wilson stage lighting bid, that has been completed. The Horseman boiler, the pre-bid was on 12/7, and then we're expecting to have all the bids on 12/20. And then we will bring those results at the January board meeting. The Wilson fire alarm system is being designed, and that will be partially paid out of the school maintenance grant. As far as all of our heat pumps, we have purchased 3 of them for the Wilson School. We will plan on purchasing 7 more heat pumps for Bicentennial and John Deere. And then Roosevelt needs a replacement of the control system for those heat pumps. So all of that, we are going to look at how much money is left over with our ESSER dollars after all these other projects are completed, and hopefully take care of all of those needs. Lincoln Irving and the athletic studies are just getting started. We plan to have that presented to you in April or May. And we're just in the beginning stages of getting all of those the core groups and subgroups kind of lined out. And then lastly, based on with the softball field, we have requested and received pricing for the immediate fencing needs from 2 companies. And then we are also working with a contractor to replace the roofs at both dugouts. And we're going to do a like-for-like replacement, just because we know that that athletic facility study will be underway, and we're going to be doing a much more extensive breakdown of all that. So that is it for facilities. Any questions?
Would the last thing you mentioned then, would that timeline for the potential repairs that were to be happening to the dugouts happen prior to the season then?
That is what we're planning.
The plan is?
Yep, that is the plan.
And just thanks for that update, Vince. And I know the stakeholder that sent the email is in the audience, but just in the future, if we could just communicate back with him, because I just touched bases with him tonight, and glad that he was here. But in the future, can we just communicate back with those stakeholders just to say we might not have a solution, but when they don't feel like they're just lost out there, with the question lingering from April. I mean, if we don't have anything that we can move on that's where we are. But I just rather, that communication than no communication at all. And we'll wholeheartedly support it as board people, because we were included on there. So just the update is very well received, regardless of what it is. Like, sometimes you just have to wait till the money comes, and that's what we collectively have to communicate. I'm okay with that. And I know we had one more lingering email out there around facilities. So I know he alluded to an administrator. Someone in the district told him that something was going to happen. Is that your department that oversees that communication of any facilities, to include our athletic ones?
Yes, yeah, I'll be working in conjunction with Keith. And the
Okay.
facilities.
Okay, yeah. And just let us know if there's something, a larger message that we need to communicate to stakeholders. I am fair game for helping with that messaging. Thank you so much.
Anything else?
Mr. Malone meeting, but it'll be real quick. Thank you to the administration and all the members that came. Triple I conference, couldn't have just talk about it. Amazing. Had a great time with those who went. Lindsay and I were kind of the rookies, so it was kind of fun on that regard. Just saw and heard a lot of things that showed us, one, I think we're on the right track. We're doing a lot of things really well. I know Chet and I sat into a breakout session where they gave a number, which we don't know how accurate it is, but I think it was, of all the districts in the state of Illinois, only 17 have high school members on their school board. Is that right? Am I misquoting?
Very good, Justin.
We're one of them. And it was kind of shocking and saddening to hear a couple school districts say, why would we do that? And it's, to us, that's the exact opposite, right? Like, our attitude is, why wouldn't we do that? Like, so thank you for your guys' involvement, that's huge. But you guys are paying a lot for us to go there, and I'm probably gonna bug you about the equity one that I sat in, cause I kept all the notes and everything from it. It was amazing, and I left very, very impacted by that one personally, and so, anyway, thank you guys for that, it's a great time, so, thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?